over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
All right, 23 minutes before 10 o'clock. Gosh, I was so looking forward to the interview. I don't know if he's going to call in. He may have forgotten, which is Joe's joke. We have a guest who is scheduled to be on right now, Dave Farrow. And this guy's an amazing memory guy. He's a 2-time Guinness record memory whiz. He is how he memorizes things. You know,
what's the test?
I don't know, but that's why he's coming on to kind of, and he's helping students and parents to make the school year the best ever by improving your memory. Do you know this?
You think about it, Larry. When you're doing that, what is it? What is it's comprehension, and then retention, and then they test you on that.
Right.
Anybody? Well, I shouldn't say anybody. A lot of people can comprehend what they're reading.
Right.
But to retain it, how long is the retention? In other words, that'd be a good question for him. When you know, great memory. A lot of people go for that, and it's a great memory. But then if you forget it by the time the test is gone, that's the whole thing.
Well, when you do karaoke, do you have all the songs memorized that you or a lot of them anyway?
You know, you would think, but there's certain sections you remember.
Oh, really?
Everybody remembers the refrain.
I wonder if you remember them better than you think you do.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But the refrain, everybody remembers the refrain of a song, most people.
Right.
But then, what do you call in between the refrain is?
The verses?
The verses, thank you.
Yeah.
And everybody, or you're driving down the road and you start singing with the song, you're great. And then the verse comes in, you're going.
Yeah, that one part, yeah.
Yeah, you're like a word behind.
Have you ever tried to sing, or has anybody else tried to sing Macarena? Isn't that a difficult song to sing? It seems like it's...
If you know the words, it's a foreign language, it's Spanish, correct?
Well, it's two. It's English and Spanish, the ones I remember.
Yeah.
Should I take a message?
Please.
All right, so we have actually, one of the things that we do here on the morning show is we have a lot of authors on, as most people know, and so we've had a lot of nice compliments from book lovers about the books that we've introduced them to. So some of the authors who we haven't been able to get still have some pretty good books out there. So, and these are the hot books.
They haven't been able to call in?
Well, some of them have. Well, to be quite honest, they're famous or they're,
They're above us?
Sometimes, I think so.
Really?
But yeah, and yet we get some of the big authors who are on.
You had Stephen King on here, have you not?
We've not had Stephen King. No.
Not yet.
No. But we've had. Oh my gosh, Robin knows the whole thing.
I'm sorry, Larry.
I don't have
you
the
forgot.
I did forget. We've had Dean Koontz. There's a big name that came to mind.
Okay.
We've had Hal Lindsey, the late great Planet Earth Hal Lindsey.
Yeah.
Robin, who's the lady that? The lady author that's very famous.
That you've had on
the one that Missy likes.
Oh, Debbie Maycomber.
Debbie Maycomber. She's been on. Yeah.
Somebody with the Little House on the Prairie thing.
Yeah, we've had some of them. And we had the Star Wars guy on, the guy who writes the Star Wars books.
Kevin Anderson. Yeah,
which I didn't even know there were
wonderful.
Star Wars books, but apparently Star Wars fans buy all these books.
I'm a Star Trek. It's not Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dan. That's more Dan's generation because it was 75.
Yeah.
I bought him the Millennium Falcon and all that. That was more his. I'm not really, and not that I don't like it. I'm just not into it like as much as I am into the Star Trek venue of. But there's so many books out there. Who was it? Carl Reiner. You had him on.
We had Carl Reiner. Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah.
We had the other famous Dean Koontz. We have him on.
Yeah, you're out of the room.
He's
for
a rock
there.
star.
It's the only name I can remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's all right. You can't be everywhere, Rob.
All right. All right. So I have here some books. Now, a lot of these books will probably be made into movies. So that's the great thing
about. What's it called? Screenplay.
These are not screenplays. These are books, but they might be translated into screenplays. Yeah. And in fact, 90% of movies start out as books. The other 10% start out as screenplays. Did you know that? 90% of movies start out as books. All right, so here's...
Yeah, you have your material, yeah.
Valeria Luiselli. We haven't had Valeria on, but she has written a book called The Story of My Teeth.
The Story of My Teeth?
Yes, The Story of My Teeth follows an auctioneer known as Highway, that's his name.
Okay.
And he makes his way through Mexico City, and he prides himself on being a storyteller, which means that he not only is honest about the items he sells, including several peculiar sets of teeth.
When you said that, I thought of George Washington. Why, I don't know.
Yeah, right. So this is the story of a guy telling stories about these teeth that he takes on the road with him.
Storytelling. Was it Jamesboro, Tennessee?
I imagine.
Storyteller capital of the
United States. Right.
So,
Well, we have the Ocala Storytelling Guild in Ocala too.
oh, we do?
Have you heard of them?
No. Boy, I could tell some whoppers.
I haven't heard from them yet. Anyway, The Story of My Teeth is not out yet. The publishing date is September 15th, so you got about 11 days. Is this possibly our guest?
I don't
think.
know.
Yes, hello.
Yes,
This is Larry and Robin.
This is Larry, and Joe's in here right now. And well, thank you for calling. We thought you forgot. It's a
I
joke.
thought you guys forgot yesterday.
I know.
That was a joke. You're on the air, by the way.
I know we heard. Yeah, we went straight to the air. So this is Dave Farrow, and Dave Farrow holds 2 Guinness records for being a memory whiz. And so you can teach us how to memorize things better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the interesting thing, I love how this started. By the way, a memory talk, and somebody forgot something. I don't know who, but it was funny anyways. So I'm in the Guinness Book of Records for memory, but I want people to know that I wasn't born with this skill. In the short time I have here, I want to impress upon people that everybody has a powerful memory. They just don't know how to use it. That's my basic premise here.
Okay, and do vitamins make a difference?
Well, no, it's actually a good question. Vitamins, proper diet, exercise, all this helps a little bit, but the area that I focus on is called mental training or memory training. So I'll give you a really simple example. I'll give you a couple of tips that your listeners can use. We have more on our website, Memory Made Easy, but let me just give you one. Have you ever forgot where you put your keys or your glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a common thing. So here's what's going on. You're paying attention to a bunch of different things. You're not paying attention to where you place something. So a little mental trick to trick your brain into paying attention is to visualize something that's interesting. So here's what I tell my students. You try this. I guarantee you it'll work for you. You'll remember this for weeks. So you set your keys down, and in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine that it explodes. I'm not kidding. You have like a mini firecracker attached to the keys, and in your mind's eye, you see it go boom and take half the table with it. Now I know there's crazy people out there, so I'm not telling you to actually blow stuff up. Okay,
right.
So we're protected legally, right? But
Don't do that.
But there you go. But hey, we're protected legally. I said don't. Okay, so the thing is, in your mind's eye, you're doing this, but on some part of your brain, you actually buy into it, just like you do, for movies and stories. You're visualizing. You think it's actually happening on some level. Your brain buys into it, and what happens is you can go throughout your whole day, your whole week, and you remember where those keys are. The minute you think of keys, that location will pop into your head. It happens almost like magic.
All right.
No, go ahead. I had a question, too. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What if you put your keys someplace else the next day?
Actually, the funny thing is you can do this again and again, and not only will you remember, and you have to test me on this. You can come back and call me a liar if you like, but we found that you remember the next day, you remember the day. Well, it's just most people who don't train their memory, they don't have any faith in it. So it sounds kind of odd to say, oh yeah, you'll remember it the next day and you remember the next day. But when you actually train your memory, you have a lot of confidence. You know what works and what doesn't. So it'll happen. Yeah, you can do it in the coffee table here, and then the kitchen table over there, and then somewhere else. And then the next time you remember them, you'll also remember, hey, before I had it on the other table, before I had it in the coffee table.
Yeah, that was the thing. So you're remembering that the first time in your memory it exploded on that table, hypothetically. Then you go to the next one, hypothetically exploded on the other table. So when you walk in, you say, okay, where did it explode last?
And
it works that way?
And it actually does work that way. It's hilarious. Well, here's what's actually going on. What we're taking advantage of is a survival mechanism in the brain. Your brain has a little mechanism that will allow you to remember things long term without any repetition. It's just you use it very, very rarely. Okay, so it's the mechanism that I trained myself to use to get in the Guinness Book of World Records, to memorize 59 decks of cards. You can use it for studying, for other things. But essentially what it is I call it the tiger in the jungle, So if you were walking through a jungle and you saw, a tree, a rock, a stream, a bunch of stuff, and then you saw a tiger, what are you going to pay attention to? You're going to pay attention to the tiger, obviously. Right, and the thing is, that's why human beings are still on this planet, is because we pay attention to the tiger first. We don't need repetition. We don't need to see the tiger 100 times.
Wow.
Otherwise, we would be dead by now, right?
All right. So you said you memorized 59 decks of cards. So did you have 59 times 30? How many? 52. 59
52 last time
times 52 firecrackers.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a little bit the exploding keys technique is what we call a basic technique. It does get more advanced from there. So essentially, I was able to turn the cards into kind of, for lack of a better word, it's kind of like mental movies. So the different cards make different parts of the movie. It's very creative. It's a lot of fun. It works really well with kids. All right. But at the end of the day, I was able to remember all these 3,068 cards.
I want to tell you something. This is nowhere near your memory, but Robert and I play music, okay? And so
here we go.
We decided we wanted to not use the music. We wanted to do it from memory. But there's a lot of songs people request. So we have right now 3 hours worth of music memorized. And believe it or not, that's not much.
No.
Believe it or not, 3 hours, you're through 3 hours in 3 hours. And then you're starting again. All right, so... But here's
and that's if they request everything that you know. If they request something you don't know, then you're out of luck.
But anyway, so here's the thing I want to tell you. Before we started memorizing, it seemed like such a monumental task to memorize even an hour's worth. But the act of deciding to memorize was really kind of the best way to memorize. In other words, if you sit there and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to memorize this no matter what. All of a sudden you find yourself, hey, I did it. I got it. I can do it without looking at it. So I don't know if I just tapped into something that you want to help us with.
Well, that's actually a great point. Motivation is a big part of this. When I first started, I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. That's why we call it Memory Made Easy, because I want to make it easy.
So you would
for
play
everybody.
the songs backwards.
I was waiting for that. Oh, my dog.
Sorry.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. So I was diagnosed with these challenges, but I was just like you, that I was determined to overcome them. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was determined to overcome it. And for me, it was finding strategies, little tips and techniques. Some of them were bad. Some of them were good. I eventually ended up creating brand new techniques that have actually been proven in a double-blind neuroscience study. So I'm very proud of that. But at the end of the day, though, you're absolutely right. It starts with motivation. I work with kids all the time. Oh my God, I went to this elementary school not too long ago, and I taught them how to memorize their times tables. And essentially, all you do is we have kind of a color code for the numbers, and they end up drawing pictures. And then at the end of drawing a few pictures, they know their times tables, and they're flabbergasted. They're so happy, so excited. So I had this little girl come up to me named Sarah, and she said, "I'm not stupid," like as if it was a revelation to her. You know what I mean? And it like after I pulled my heart from my chest, it was beating. I mean, this is the most adorable thing. But she was not told she was stupid. She was told that you have a learning challenge, you're not as fast as the other kids, that sort of thing. But all the kids tell themselves is that they're stupid. So after talking to her mom, I found out that she basically gave up. At some point, she was like, "Oh, what's the point to do homework? I give up," right? And when she learned these techniques, it gave her confidence, even though, that was just for times tables. It doesn't apply, that one technique doesn't really apply to anything else. But it gave her confidence, like you said, and motivation to try all these other things, and now she's doing incredibly well in school.
Are you able to demonstrate right now, or am I putting you on the spot? Like, could we throw some things at you? Just you direct us. If you don't want to do that, or that's not even feasible, just. But,
yeah, sure. Throw me numbers, 2-number combinations. Give me numbers.
2-number combinations. All right.
So like 56, 25, something like that.
All right, so you're not writing them down, right?
I'm not writing them down.
What if could I tell you names? Could I tell you the names of the people in the station? Could you recite them back to me?
Sure, let's give it a try.
Would that be hard? Okay, all right. Let me name.
Well, actually, if we have a bit of time, I could teach you another technique. If we got maybe like 2-3 minutes,
okay.
I could actually teach the audience because you're right. I could be writing this down. You can't prove it.
Right.
Here's a simple technique. Well, thank you. Well, you can also go on YouTube and you can look up Dave Farrow, and I've memorized studio audiences and stuff like that.
Okay.
But here's something that you can do right now. Okay. So a standard test for memory is called the list technique, or the random list technique. So essentially what a doctor would do if you're worried about their memory is they would give you a list of random objects, and then you would recite them back from memory after seeing them just once. Now, most people would remember about 4 or 5 from the list. If you get up to 9, you have a genius level memory. So I have a list here, and I'm going to kind of open up my brain and show you how I would memorize it. So
right.
It's just random objects. So follow along with me. I have a tree, a car, a cat, an umbrella, a swimming pool, an elephant, a bank, orange juice of all things, cell phones, and chocolate. Now, if anybody was following along, you know that's a tree, a car, a cat, umbrella, and a swimming pool, and an elephant, and bank, orange juice, chocolate, and cell phones. At this point, you probably maybe remember the last two. You maybe remember chocolate and cell phone. Maybe you remember the tree and the car. But some of the ones in the middle, you'll at least jumble up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
So here's how I would picture it, and essentially this is the most basic technique. You can teach this to your kids. It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's not names, it's not foreign languages, it's not our other techniques, but it should give you a bit of a hint. Start off, imagine a tree in your front yard. Wherever you live, imagine there's a nice tree in your front yard, and a car crashes into it. All of a sudden, we have the first two, the tree and the car.
Okay.
The next thing is the cat. I imagine the cat coming out from behind the car. So the cat was driving the car. It's like Toots is the driving cat, if you remember that.
Okay.
All right.
Garfield.
I was thinking you
I
fell
thought
out
I
of
made
the
that
tree.
reference.
Yeah, I know.
So, or the cat could fall out of the tree, but we want to connect it to the last thing. So it's tree and then car and then cat.
Okay.
And then the cat grabs an umbrella and it opens up and they fly in the air like Mary Poppins.
Okay.
The umbrella breaks and they all land in a swimming pool. So we have the tree, car, cat, umbrella, and then swimming pool.
Right.
Inside the swimming pool happened to be an elephant, and the elephant gets spooked and jumps and runs into a local bank and goes on a rampage, knocks over a giant vat of orange juice for some reason.
Oh, wow.
There doesn't have to be any logical reason for the orange juice to be there. It just happens to be there and it's knocked over.
Right.
It splashes all over a bunch of cell phones, and everybody's cell phone starts sparking and breaking, and like electricity or something like that.
Okay.
And the last thing is you pull your cell phone back to escape the carnage, and you hold it up against your ear, but it's melting. You feel that it's turned magically into chocolate. Now, I just made this up off the top of my head. You might do something
so you
different,
make a scenario.
but let's see how well you did.
All right.
You make a little scenario. So you see how well you did. What's the first item?
Wait. The first item was a tree.
Right. Tree, umbrella, cat, swimming pool.
The car was after the tree.
Oh, we have to have
it
an
has
order.
to be in order?
Does that have to be in order?
Yeah. You have to get it in order, but if you...
Oh!
You'll get it.
The tree, the car...
Car first.
The tree, the car...
Car first.
I thought the tree was first.
The tree is first.
Oh, trees
the
first?
tree, the
Oh.
car.
The tree, the car, the cat...
You guys are a piece of work. This is lovely.
The umbrella.
Tree, the car,
Hold on.
The umbrella, yeah.
And then he flew up in the air. What the heck?
Landed in the swimming pool.
Oh, swimming pool. And there was an elephant in there.
Looking at him.
Yeah.
And
Then he went to the bank.
oh, how did he get from the elephant to the bank? I can't remember.
He went on a rampage.
Yeah.
to the
Doing a
bank.
rampage
Oh,
in the
okay.
bank,
And then he ran into some orange juice.
He knocked over the display of orange juice. All the cell phones, he stomped on them. There they are.
And
you
then-
picked yours up and it turned into chocolate.
Chocolate. Is that it?
Yes.
Did we get them all?
That's it.
Yay.
How am I going to use this in my real world?
Well, you're in radio. It's a story.
Well, this is a quick demonstration for radio, and you guys, that was one of the most entertaining examples I've heard of this. You guys are a lot of fun.
Got me hungry.
But in a practical sense, you can make a silly story out of your grocery list, and what you're doing is you're actually training your brain. You're actually lowering your risk for dementia, lowering your risk for memory loss. In the time I have here, I want to make absolutely clear that there's a big misconception about brain training. All right, and this is why I did Memory Made Easy differently. The misconception is that any brain training is just useful. So, Sudoku and crosswords will help your brain in the same way other things. If you want to improve your memory, you have to actually memorize stuff. And actually
Makes
recall
sense,
it. So in other words, doing math doesn't help your memory. It helps your math. It helps your logic skills, things like that, but it doesn't help your memory. So many people do games, and they think they're getting a better memory. They're getting better at the game, which is great.
Okay.
But you have to actually memorize and recall in order to exercise that muscle. But if you do, oh my God, just a little bit of mental exercise cuts your risk for Alzheimer's as much as half.
That's
There's a bunch of studies on it.
That's an important thing.
Amazing.
Dave, can I squeeze in a question? I don't know if this applies to you. Are you considered a mentalist?
I have been called a mentalist before. I try not to do entertaining stuff. I'm actually hired by colleges most of the time to travel around.
So,
and
like
speak.
when you see a mentalist on TV, for example, who can tell you what Larry King's first girlfriend's name was, like he's reading his. I saw this guy and he said, "I'm not reading your mind. I'm figuring it out from your facial expressions." And I'm thinking, how do you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I mean that I do know a thing or two about that, and you could bring a magician on to tell you more. But most of the time, it's a pre-prepared thing, and he's leading Larry King into it, but convincing everybody that it's free will. That you're just making a random. So I don't know off the top of my head all the exact numbers, but if you tell somebody, say a number between 1 and 20, they'll always go with one number 90% of the time, for example. That sort of thing. So it feels like free will, but it's actually a trick, which is great. I mean, they're good at tricks. But this is real life. This is absolutely real that we do with students, with your brain. This is, I think, in the case where fiction is reality is more fantastical than fiction.
Where are you right now, Dave? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, okay.
Buffalo.
If you're ever in Ocala, we'd love to have you in the studio. Dave has been, by the way, on the Regis Philbin Show, on Dr. Oz, CBC, the Today Show.
Yeah, the CBC documentary, actually.
CNN, the Discovery Channel, and we're honored to have you on this show. So before we say goodbye, let's make sure that the listeners can look you up. You gave us one website earlier, and guess what? I forgot it. What is it?
Well, we make your memory easy at memorymadeeasy.com. So just go in the address bar, Memory Made Easy.
memorymadeeasy.com. And is there a DaveFarrow.com also?
There is Dave Farrow, yeah. It's spelled Farrow, so you can Google me and find out all about, the speaking gigs I do and seminars. We actually have memory competitions that are hosted at colleges. So, look me up as well.
And you are a 2-time Guinness Record Memory Whiz, so that's pretty cool.
What I'm trying
Thank you very much. My mom is proud.
I love the demonstration we just did. I guess I'd have to look more on your website to understand how you use this practically. I don't even understand how you use it for a grocery list, unless you pick.
Right, yeah.
But
well, the thing is, we start off with the basic techniques, and a lot of the basic techniques are games like this, where it's a list or some numbers or something, and then we just add an extra technique. So one of the extra techniques we might add is location, where for the grocery list, you'd imagine your groceries being stashed all around your car. So if you have to pick up eggs, you're throwing them at the window. If you have to pick up milk, it's poured on the seat. And you can kind of place things around your car. The minute you think of your car, you'll have this whole list in your head, and you think, well, I could have written that list down, but then you wouldn't have been stretching your memory and strengthening it. And the more you do it, the more you practice it, it's almost instantaneous. It takes a split second to make these images, and they benefit you for a lifetime.
Wow. And how old were you when you figured this out?
Well, it's been a process. I've been doing this for about 20 years now, so I'm 40 years old now. But I started looking into it when I was 16. This has been my life's work.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that's what I thought. I thought you were basically a child, but I guess you were a teenager. Well, Dave,
do I sound that young?
No. I don't mean now.
Compliment. I don't know.
I don't mean now. I thought I heard somewhere or read somewhere that you started out with this when you were a kid, but 16 is a kid, so 16 is.
Yeah, no. Well, I was diagnosed with. Well, technically at 14, I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, and that's really when I tried to look for alternatives because, as we know, our education system doesn't really provide a lot of really innovation.
Dave,
so I looked upon for myself.
Dave, we have to run. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Dave Farrow, go to memorymadeeasy.com. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The Dow sliding some 200 points at the open as investors take in the August jobs report just out this morning. The 173,000 jobs created below expectations, while the jobless rate fell to 5.1%. That's a 7-year low.
The unemployment rate falling for the right reasons. The labor force was steady and more people found work. Wages took a healthy jump last month, rising 0.3% to $25.09 an hour, but still up only about 2% year over year.
Peter Barnes with the Fox Business Network. Rowan County, Kentucky issuing its first marriage license to a gay couple as a clerk who refuses to issue them sits in jail. Kim Davis's husband saying
she will be there until ever how long it takes.
Joe Davis calling for the governor of Kentucky to be removed for not backing his wife's religious beliefs. Fox News, we report, you decide.